The Golden State Warriors had a weird season. From the Jordan Poole and Draymond incident to the podcast and to the rumors regarding whether or not the Golden Dynasty is finished. But to their credit, they still managed to get to the second round, and they gave the Lakers a run for their money. But we all know the end result of that series. So now that leaves us with the biggest question. What's next for the Golden State Warriors and their fantastic culture and dynasty built almost a decade ago? First, we have to address the Warriors' most significant problem to find a reasonable solution, which is Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. After that punch, it was impossible for them to repair their relationship. And I know many people said it was just teammates being teammates and things like that happen all the time. And while that might, I can assure you that punching your teammate in the face isn't something that just happens. It was obviously something that was building up over time. And what's worse is the video got out. And remember, Jordan Poole is just 23 years old, so he's most likely on social media more than any other Warriors player. And to constantly see that video circulating and the jokes being made by fans, well, that's something that will always be talked about till the day he retires. The video will be up forever. That's exactly why their relationship will never be the same. And that's if they had much of one in the first place. But after the video got out, this is what the former Defensive Player of the Year said. "It is 100% calculated," said Draymond Green. Who it was calculated by? I don't know. I would still love to know that answer. How the video got released? I'm not sure I'll ever get an answer. That video was put out there to portray me the exact way it did. This was meant to form an opinion about me and not give another side to it. And while that statement kinda did seem like he was avoiding responsibility for his actions, he followed it up by saying this about their relationship moving forward. "This is different, 100%, and not that I was expecting it to be the same. I will always be willing to do the work because I was wrong. I think it's been close to the way that I thought it would go. I see improvements day by day, week by week, month by month, and that's all you can ask for." And when you're on a team like the Warriors who pride themselves on culture, things need to be fixed fast. And by fixed, I mean one of them needs to be traded. And the obvious player there is Jordan Poole. He played terribly in the playoffs. He averaged 10 points while shooting 34% from the field and 25% from the three-point line. And not to mention, he was an even worse defender. If he isn't scoring, then there's nothing else he does well. He isn't a playmaker, he isn't a hustle guy, he for sure isn't a defender, and he doesn't rebound or set good screens. He was a liability on both ends for the Warriors. And with them not being as deep as they've been in recent years, that was a huge issue. And for those who disagree and say Draymond should be traded instead, that would actually be the worst thing the Warriors could do outside of trading Steph Curry. Draymond is still the second most valuable Warrior on the roster without question. He's the primary and best facilitator on offense, an elite screen setter, and a solid scorer when he attacks. And still, even at age 33, he is an elite defender. Remember, the Warriors weren't the best defensive team all season, so trading your best defender doesn't really make that much sense at all. And offensively, things won't run as smoothly without him. He simply can't be replaced. But Poole can. There are a lot of good scorers and shooters in the NBA, but I promise you, it is extremely hard to find an elite defender who can defend 5 positions while also being one of the best passers in the NBA with a championship pedigree. But just what trade exactly should the Golden State Warriors make in order to put them back in the driver's seat as title favorites? First, let's look at their biggest weaknesses this season and in the playoffs, starting with their interior defense. With Draymond being in foul trouble a lot and Kevin Looney not being a great rim protector in general, the Lakers had a field day in the paint during the playoffs. They're simply too small. And while this may have worked in years past, bigger players are taking over the game. Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, and even the bigger wing scorers like Jason Tatum and Luka are all amazing finishers who punish teams who play small ball or have no rim protector. And as Draymond gets older, it is going to be harder for him to be a rim protector at an elite level we're accustomed to. The Warriors' second biggest problem is just not having another tall and long versatile defender on the court. Yes, they do have Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton II, and Dante DiVincenzo, but they're all too small for LeBron James or even Jason Tatum. And I know Wiggins did defend Tatum great last year in the NBA Finals, but in this postseason, Wiggins wasn't as great defensively. And I'm not saying he was bad at all, because he was still the Warriors' best defender behind Draymond. But due to him missing time before the playoffs and then suffering from an injury during the playoffs, he just didn't affect the game like he normally does on that end of the court. Shot creating is another weakness for the Warriors. Outside of Steph Curry and sometimes Klay Thompson, they don't get consistent and timely scoring from anyone else. And those are really the 3 biggest weaknesses for the Warriors: lack of interior defense, lack of a versatile defender, and not having a shot creator outside of Steph Curry who can get buckets consistently. That now brings us to some trade scenarios. The first trade, we would send Jordan Poole, Gary Payton II, and 2 first-round picks to the Toronto Raptors for 29-year-old Pascal Siakam. The Raptors are looking to shake things up, either by trading Pascal or OG, and this trade does just that, while also giving them a 23-year-old champion who maybe just needs a fresh start. And they'll get Gary Payton II, who's an amazing defender who will fit perfectly alongside their other great defenders like OG, Fred, Scotty Barnes, and Gary Trent Jr. For the Warriors, getting a player like Pascal Siakam makes them credible title contenders again. He averaged 24 points, 7 rebounds, and 5.8 assists while shooting 48% from the field, 32% from 3, and 77% from the free throw line. A lineup of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Pascal Siakam, and Draymond Green is great on both sides of the ball. On offense, he can score in the paint and the mid-range. He was ranked 20th in points and post-ups, and he was 14th in the NBA in mid-range field goal percentage when you factor in attempts. Golden State could have really used that elite scoring when Curry went to the bench, or when the Warriors were in a scoring drought as a team. And do not overlook his 5.8 assists. He's one of the best passing forwards in all of basketball, and for obvious reasons, that would be perfect in Golden State, who ranked first in assists during the regular season. On the defensive end, Siakam is 6'9" and able to defend multiple positions at a pretty high level. His length and physicality would make the Warriors' defense extremely tough all around. So there you have it for our first trade. It solves 3 of the Warriors' problems. They would have a good shot creator, a really good versatile defender, and they would be getting rid of Jordan Poole and Gary Payton II, who's a liability on the offensive end most nights. And I know Pascal's only shot 32% from 3, but he's a better shooter than his numbers show. Not a great shooter, but he's solid when given open looks. Now this next trade might shock you. It involves sending Jordan Poole and Gary Payton II to the Brooklyn Nets for Ben Simmons and 2 first-round picks. Okay, hear me out. The Brooklyn Nets are entertaining a rebuild or a retool, and Simmons most likely isn't a part of that moving forward. Bringing in Jordan Poole brings youth and electric scoring, and Gary Payton, who's in the trade to match salaries and beef up the Nets' defense, will be a great move as well. And for the Warriors, let's address the biggest concern regarding this trade. Yes, you would have 3 non-shooters on the court in Ben Simmons, Draymond, and Kevin Looney, but here's the solution to that. Just don't put them all on the court at the same time. And that might require Ben Simmons coming off the bench, which could work better than expected. A lineup of Steph, Klay, Wiggins, Draymond, and Looney with Simmons as the 6th man looks pretty nice on paper. Because think about it, Simmons' best attributes right now are passing, defending multiple positions, and pushing the pace in transition. 3 things that the Warriors love to do. Bringing in Simmons allows them to run unique lineups when Draymond is resting on the bench. Steph, Klay, DiVincenzo, Wiggins, and Simmons at the 5 could really work the same as when Draymond is on the floor. He would get the Splash Brothers open looks, he'll set good screens, and he can defend at least 4 positions pretty well. And of course, push the pace in transition after grabbing defensive rebounds. He could really benefit from the culture in Golden State too. If there's any team in the league that could redirect his career, it's Golden State. And as long as he stays on the floor, his skill set perfectly correlates with the Warriors' play style. The biggest problem, though, would be how a player like him and Draymond Green might get along off the court. If they can build a relationship, it could work. If not, then it's the total opposite, and you end up having a situation like Poole and Green all over again. But if you aren't a fan of the last 2 trades, or just specifically that last one, then listen to our final trade. This player is unknown to most NBA fans, but he could be a game changer in a Warriors uniform. This trade involves sending Jonathan Kuminga and a 2025 first-round pick to the Charlotte Hornets for 25-year-old Nick Richards. The Hornets, honestly, have no direction, and pairing Kuminga alongside LaMelo, Miles Bridges, and Mark Williams could be interesting for the future. Nick Richards averaged 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 1.1 blocks per game in 18 minutes. The 7-foot giant is a great rebounder, shot blocker, and pick-and-roll lob threat. He's similar to Kevin Looney in the sense that he hustles and gives 110% when going for rebounds and protecting the rim. He's got a large 7'4" wingspan that allows him to alter shots. Just an overall really solid pickup on both ends of the floor, and honestly, this might be a bold take, but it's a strong possibility they would have won the series versus Los Angeles with a player like him. Paint protection is just that important, especially against the best paint-scoring teams in the NBA, like the Lakers. All in all, the Warriors have a few things to figure out before next season, but the good thing is all of their problems are fixable. And even with their internal problems, they still managed to get to the second round and almost forced a Game 7 versus the Lakers, all while not even playing anywhere near their best as a team. So which trade would you like? And what do you think they've got to do in order to get back to the NBA Finals? Let us know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.